Merry meet everyone. You know my name by now, which is Maya. But other than that, you can also call me Kini Moon, and you're now watching my pagan life. So it has come to my attention that a lot of you people who come to my channel are in fact beginners, like myself. But not only beginners, but beginners who are completely fresh and who have merely bumped into Wicca. And a huge dilemma or problem for people who have just bumped into Wicca is, what am I supposed to learn first? How am I supposed to kick this off? What am I supposed to do? And guess what? We've all been there. I have been there. I've been like, what am I supposed to do with all this information? Now, I can't teach you everything you need to know within one video, but I am here today to give you 10 tips for beginners in Wicca. The tips that I'm about to present to you are tips that are based on my personal experience. And frankly, these are tips that I would have given myself if I had known what I know today. So let's get started with tip number 1. Start with the very basics. You may ask, why the heck are you mentioning this? Well, it's because it's extremely important. And this applies to everything, whether it is a language, or it's learning about history, or learning about anything else, for example, in school subjects. It is important that you have the basics down in order to advance your knowledge. If you're starting to advance your knowledge without actually having the basics, you're screwed. Sorry to be very graphic, but it's true. You're not going to learn anything, you're not going to grow, and you're going to be super confused when you start diving into things you don't know anything about. So whatever you do, start with the basics. Learn what Wicca is, its basic principles, what you have to know as a beginner, or just learn about gods and goddesses, learn about the elements, learn what magic is, witchcraft is, paganism is, learn all these different terms. You're gonna thank yourself for really diving into the basics first. Tip number 2 is learn before experimenting. Now for me, this would be a tip that would apply to magic. I remember when I was a beginner and I would go to other people's videos and I would be like, hey, can you give me a simple spell for beginners that I can try to perform? And the response would be always something like this. If you're a total beginner, I would suggest to not perform magic until you've learned enough. And I've come to realize how true that actually is. I did not start to perform magic or work with the craft until I had learned everything I needed to know first. Learn basic altar setups or setups, learn correspondences when it comes to goddesses, gods, the elements, objects, and so on and so forth. Make sure that you know the basics, know what you need to know, and definitely know what you're doing before you cast a spell, because it is impossible to reverse it. Tip number 3, do not buy too many tools. When I personally bumped into Wicca, I started studying it, and all of this stuff, I was very fascinated. And I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. I gotta buy all the tools and all the resources I need in order to do this stuff. But remember, Wicca is a belief system, and you do not need all its tools right away in order to practice. What you believe in is the most important, and what you believe in does not rely on what chalice you have, or what goddess and god candles you have, or what wand you have, or whether you have it at all. Focus on learning about the beliefs, about the belief system, what Wicca is, and all of this will come later on. Tip number 4, absorb information. You can find information on Wicca and paganism almost everywhere, but the information varies a lot. So before you take a stand and decide that, okay, I'm gonna go for this, or whatever it is, make sure to absorb views, absorb information, and other things. To be quite honest, a lot of the views and beliefs and principles in Wicca are based on people's personal experience and opinions. So make sure to absorb that information. However, with tip number 5, I'm referring to tip number 4. Stick to reliable sources. Information on Wicca, paganism, and witchcraft can be found almost everywhere, but you can never be quite sure what is a reliable source or not. And when it comes to what kinds of different sources you can use, I mean, you have the internet, you have books. If you want a more structured learning, maybe I would suggest books, because you know what, the internet is completely random. Now, if you're like me, however, you haven't been able to get a hold of books, or you haven't found books anywhere, and you have learned everything off the internet. I have learned everything off the internet, but I have been very critical, and I have been able to learn a lot from it, even though it has been very tough, since you get very easily confused. But later on, you will quickly find out what is reliable information and what is not. A very good way of doing this is contacting people who are within the same community as you, and that has got a pretty good amount of experience. But yet you're still sitting there like, I still don't understand how I'm supposed to find a reliable source, and how can I tell that something is a reliable source? Well, it's hard to say, but you will eventually find out of it soon enough. I can tell you right now that my channel, for example, is a reliable source. I mean, I'm not always right. Sometimes I can make mistakes and say the wrong things, but overall, I always strive to give you guys correct information and so on and so forth. So, for example, if you have no other reliable source at the moment, me. At least I do my best. Okay? Anyway, what am I talking about? Let's move over to tip 6, which is never stop learning. Now, this is also a very crucial tip in Wicca and paganism. Wicca, in itself, as a belief system, is not all that structured. And how fast or how much you grow in your path and learn in your path really depends on how much you learn and how much you grow. Because Wicca works this way: if you stop learning, you're not gonna get anywhere. So it's like, no matter what you learn something. And with tip number 7, I can pretty much refer to tip number 6, which is experience. Yeah, you're not gonna get anywhere in your path if you don't experience things. Experiencing life's troubles, hardships, and difficulties, experiencing what it's like. I can't mention everything because there is a lot to experience in this world, and that's why it's crucial to experience it. So keep that as a reminder in the back of your head, with my voice saying, experience, experience, experience! Tip number 8, be open-minded. This tip also applies to all the other tips that I've been giving you. Keep an open mind at all times, because you never know when things are gonna change, and you never know what is completely right until you know it's completely right. Be critical, but always keep an open mind, because I swear you are going to learn a lot from it. Tip 9, take care of the environment. Now, we all know what Wicca and paganism really is, right? Yes, Wicca is a nature-based religion, and it is nature that is the center of our whole belief. Our belief system circles around nature, and nature is the very core of our belief. Nature is our temple, our church, whatever you want to call it. Nature is our home. Nature is our Mother Earth and the ground we walk on, and we must make sure that we do our part to take care of her. We're doing a lot of things in today's world that is polluting the air and polluting everything, and we're harming the earth day by day. We're hurting her, we're hurting our home, and if we don't take care of our home, it's gonna not be for the greater good of ourselves, that's for sure. So take care of yourself, and take care of your Mother Earth, and take care of your fellow human beings by doing your part to take care of the environment. And tip number 10, make sure to enjoy yourself. I hope you don't feel pressured from the tips I've been giving you, because Wicca is a wonderful religion, and anyone has the right to enjoy themselves and relax, even though there is a lot to learn. This whole learning process thing is gonna come by itself, if you allow it to. So stay relaxed, do not stress, take your time, and enjoy yourself. Enjoy being a pagan, and enjoy being a Wiccan, because at the end of the day, That's what it's all about. So I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, make sure to support this video by liking, commenting, and sharing with your friends. If you want to support my channel and my future work, make sure to subscribe to this channel for weekly videos. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching once again, and blessed be from my pagan life.